Heavy music has been with me since I was a little girl. But no band has had a greater impact on my life than Tool. Their music has shaped my journey in incredible ways. In this video, I'll share how heavy music has shaped me as a person, how Tool opened my mind up to spirituality and personal development, and how their influence continues to show up in my life today. So, growing up in the 90s and the early 2000s, my main source of music entertainment came from this little Canadian television channel called Much Music. I would sit in front of the television for hours and hours and hours just watching music videos. It was one of my absolute favorite things to do. And like most little girls, I loved Britney Spears, who was my first concert. I loved the Spice Girls and NSYNC and Aqua. But I also loved bands like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Smashing Pumpkins, No Doubt, Marilyn Manson, and Korn. I really loved Korn.
Because Korn is awesome!
I just found myself really drawn to the rock and alternative and heavier sounds. I seem to connect with it on a much deeper emotional level, and I love the way that this music kind of brought out my more emotional and wilder side. As I grew into my teens, my taste in music began to influence how I appeared. So how I dressed and the makeup that I would wear. And it began with the classic pop punk style of my 12-year-old self's greatest hero, Avril Lavigne. And then it morphed more into kind of my own mix of different styles and genres and just my own self-expression coming through. And I really just wanted to be totally authentic, totally myself. Sometimes I made my own clothes and I didn't really care what anybody else said. I definitely got a lot of hate for the way that I looked, especially from my family and kids at school that just really didn't get it. But I also had my core group of friends who were weirdos like me, and we all kind of dressed in really strange and beautiful ways. During high school, bands like Linkin Park and The Used, AFI, Coheed and Cambria, and Between the Buried and Me helped me express emotions that I couldn't quite put into words at the time. My teen years were really turbulent, as I'm sure many of you can relate. Those years were marked with anxiety and depression and a lot of rebellion. I felt super lost and confused in a world that I didn't really feel like I fit into. I felt totally misunderstood and alone with this feeling that there must be so much more to life than what I've been told and what I can see. I really felt that there was something more, and I wanted to discover what that was. Heavy music really helped to give me a sense of belonging in a world that felt really angry and dark and hopeless at times. But there was one band in particular that truly helped me see the light. I began listening to Tool when I was 15 years old, which was arguably one of the darkest times of my life. I consider my 15th year to be my very first dark night of the soul, which I will get into in another video, but for now, just understand that it was a very dark period. It was a period of deep depression and anger, betrayal, alienation from myself and others, and a lot of confusion. Before 10,000 Days was released, I had heard songs like Stinkfist and Sober in passing, but I never actually gave Tool my full attention and time. So in the midst of my dark night of the soul, the very first Tool song that I truly paid attention to was Right Into. I remember resonating so strongly with the lyrics of this song. It's about angels observing humans with all of our reason and free will, choosing paths of division and destruction instead of uniting to reach higher states of evolution and consciousness. I felt as if the song had looked into my own mind and saw the confusion that I felt for humanity as well. I often felt like an observer of humankind, and I couldn't quite grasp why we acted in such horrible ways when we could totally choose peace instead. From that point on, I was listening to Tool obsessively. I felt so understood and held by the music and the themes of the songs. Not only did the lyrics resonate with my own thoughts and beliefs, but they helped me put words to feelings and these understandings that I couldn't quite articulate. I felt that there was something truly special about this music. I resonated so strongly, and I honestly never felt music in this way before, and I've never really felt music in this way since. Tool is pretty unique in that way. There is one band that comes very close, and I will talk about that in another video, but for now, we'll just leave it at this. One song in particular had a truly profound effect on me, and that song was Third Eye. This was the song that lifted the veil, so to speak, and really introduced me to spirituality. On one especially depressing day at school, I was listening to Third Eye over and over and over again, and I was so curious about this one aggressively repeating lyric that was prying open my third eye, prying open my third eye. And I'm like, well, what does he mean by this? Like, what is the third eye? So I did a quick Google search and I learned about the spiritual concept of the third eye chakra, which is right here in the middle of the forehead. And it represents intuition and the connection between the material and the spiritual realms. And along with that description, I found a meditation to open the third eye, which claimed that it would connect you to your intuition. And I was very curious about this. So that same day, I decided to go sit in a quiet room and try this meditation out for myself. As per the meditation instructions, I closed my eyes and I started to focus on my breathing. I then started to imagine in the middle of my forehead a glowing purple orb that was rotating clockwise. And I don't know how long it took, but at some point I started to feel myself lift up off the couch. Now, I know this sounds crazy and wild, but this is what happened. This was my experience. So I felt myself levitating. I don't think my actual body was levitating, but anyway, I felt myself lifting off the couch. And then all of a sudden I was standing in this dark void. And then all of a sudden in front of me appears this window. And this window had shutters that burst open. And it burst open because this big stream of beautiful white and purple and blue and silvery energy light came through, and it hit me and went through me and around me. And it was the most amazing feeling. And I felt so elated. But as soon as that energy disappeared, I turned around in this dark space and I noticed like an eye-shaped hole. And I look out and I notice that I'm sitting in the room, or I'm looking into the room that I'm sitting in. As soon as I realized that what was happening, I felt myself drop back into my body and I was back in the room. And I felt like a different person. The depression was gone. I felt super elated. I felt light and open, and also I was just in amazement. I was like, well, what is this? What just happened? It didn't feel like a dream. Maybe it was an out-of-body experience. I don't know. But what was very real to me was that something out of the ordinary just happened. I wasn't on drugs, and I felt like I had truly been connected to a deep part of myself that I didn't really know existed, or maybe I did, but wasn't quite sure. Like, I consider that to be my true spiritual awakening. And from that moment on, I was very interested in spirituality and personal development and consciousness and all of that fun stuff. So Tool definitely played a part in my spiritual awakening. If it wasn't for them, who knows if I would have had an experience like that, or, maybe I would have found spirituality in another way, but this was truly profound for me at such a young age. So I'm very grateful for Tool for leading me to an experience like that. So not only did Tool's music help me find my spirituality, but their music also helped to shape my worldview. Ever since starting to listen to Tool, I questioned everything. And I realized that life is so much more than external success and material things, but it's about inner growth, alignment, and following a path that is uniquely true to you. And I've been living my life by that ever since. The most important Tool song to me, and to be honest, my favorite song of all time, is Lateralis. I'm going to be doing a deep dive into that video at some point, but for now, I'll just say that it is a song that has truly deeply guided and influenced my life. So 19 years after my first deep dive into Tool, their music continues to resonate with me, especially during major life moments where they help me to navigate through hard times, and they provide me with the inner strength and motivation to never give up on what I believe to be true for myself and my life. Their music reminds me to trust the process, to embrace discomfort, and to keep moving forward no matter what happens. Their influence has guided my life, and now it guides my budding career as a guide and a teacher. The themes embedded within their lyrics beautifully align with my philosophy and my purpose, which is guiding others on how to live authentically, how to embrace their unique journeys through life, and how to keep riding the spiral. So Tool's music, and heavy music in general, has been a soundtrack for my life's journey. For me, it's honestly not just music, it is a philosophy. It is a way of being and a reminder to continue living authentically. I want to thank you so much for being on this journey with me and for watching this video all the way to the end. I really appreciate it, and I am so curious to know if there's any songs or bands that have played a really important role in shaping who you are or how your life has unfolded. So let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!